we are talking about feminine money archetypes and how you can discover your unique path to prosperity. Let me start by this. This was kind of triggered in the community, and I thought, what should I talk about? Archetypes? I never really cared about what other people did. I'm like, I just want to solve my financial things I've stored, issues, and I just desire to receive more money. I don't care if I'm like part of an archetype or whatever. Welcome to the podcast, Manifesting Big Money Fast. My name is Jeanine Hurd. I am so excited that you found this podcast or that you're tuning in to another episode. This podcast is all about manifestation, big money, energetics, spirituality, how it's all connected, and most importantly, how you can increase your bank account right now. So let's dive in today's episode. Thank you for this question and conversation that popped up in our community, because now I actually sat down and wrote down a couple archetypes I think I can see around my clients, and I want to share and hope this helps you. First of all, let's start with the definition of an archetype. And that is universally recognized symbol or pattern of behavior that recurs across different cultures and time periods. In psychology, archetypes are universal prototypes of human behavior that influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Obviously, I've heard the term archetype before. However, very often I've realized when it comes to those kind of terms, I love to go back to the definition, because the definition always gives me actually insights if I'm seeing or understanding what an archetype is truly, or if I just kind of make up my own definition. So based on that, really seeing like, okay, what are universal prototypes that influence our thought, feelings, and actions? This is what we want to focus about, and I came up with a couple ones. So let's start this. The first feminine money archetype I would love to discuss is the nurturer, aka the good girl. This woman focuses on caring for others and finds fulfillment in providing for their family and community. Obviously, the positive part of this is she's super compassionate, generous, and supportive. The challenges this woman may face is that she may neglect her own financial needs in favor of others. And if you haven't listened to Friday's episode, I highly recommend you to go back, because we've received a community question by Angelica, and that was, what can I actually do, or how come I'm always receiving more money, but it doesn't matter how much money's coming in, by the end of the month, my bank account is still zero, aka negative. And I talked about this, and this is very often a symptom of the nurturer in us, the good girl, the mother. So highly recommend you to go back. I did a full episode on that one. That's why I'm kind of going to the next one. The next feminine money archetype, I've named her the creative one. And she truly harnesses her artistic, innovative talent to generate income. Obviously, her strengths are she has a high imagination, super visionary, resourceful, very creative, aka artistic. So almost in a way, she lives in her arty bubble. This is how I would like to call it. The challenge this woman faces is she can struggle with practical money management and financial consistency. And for me, this is someone, you see this very often when people say, oh, like the artists, the painters, I'm like, okay, let me just sell this for $2. When people say, oh, it's not about the money, it's about the art. Let me just do the music. Let me just paint. Let me just write. It's almost living in your own world and bubble and not really owning that there's also the 3D world in which money is important. Money, it's beneficial to have money, and with money comes power. This is very often, I would say, creative people struggle with. It's obviously super generic, huh? But really this money, having money means having power. And artistic people, very often creative people are like, I don't want to have power. I don't need power. I just want to do the arty stuff. Then we have the warrior. The warrior takes a very proactive, determined approach to achieving financial goals. For me, these are the people, strength, courageous, resilient, strategic. So for me, those are the people which are setting up the 25-year financial planning process that every month they're putting $50 in the savings account, in shares, stocks, whatever, and they invest this over time. Everything's planned, everything's strategic, it is set up, and the energy is like, don't be in my way, out of my way. I'm focusing purely on my goals. I'm doing everything for my goals. This is the plan, and I have to stick to the plan no matter what. And I wrote down the challenges this woman faces is a potential burnout and definitely struggle with balance due to intense focusing on goals. And for me, there's clearly a difference between I am focused and this is my goal, this is what I'm working towards, versus this has to happen like this, and if not, I'm freaking out. So the hardest for the warrior is actually also to listen to her intuition. Very often those are women which are strongly disconnected from their intuition, their feminine energy. They also try not to be emotional. Zero emotions, logic, very much in their head. Because on a plan, they see this is how it's going to work, and magical. There's almost no room for magical money. I always say there are two types of money. One is like earned with your head. It's very logical. This is what I do. Let's say I'm selling 10 packages for 1,000. This is how I make 10,000 a month. Perfect. So I'm focusing on selling 10 packages. And then there is the spiritual fun money, the feminine money, the highly emotional money that is, oh my gosh, I've just felt I'm going to sell a package for the first time for 10K. And all of a sudden, this woman just sells for 10K multiple times. And the warrior is there. I'm like, what the heck? We can't do this. This was not written down in our plan. So, next part, the mystic, the spiritual and entrepreneur. This woman aligns financial wealth with spiritual and intuitive guidance. So she's obviously super intuitive, reflective, spiritual aligned. Then, obviously, the challenge is she might find it difficult to integrate financial strategies with her spiritual beliefs. And this is like, these are the people I love to focus the most on. Let me tell you why. First of all, very often we hear in the spiritual scene, and I kind of felt this myself at one point. I'm like, I'm spiritual, connected, enlightened. Money's not important to me. I don't need it. So we kind of send the money away from us and I see this since we've been traveling so much. We've met so many magical spiritual entrepreneurs that almost have little money or just financially at this, I'm surviving. But it's okay because I'm happy. I don't need more. And abundance overflow is never coming from need. It's two completely different frequencies. And what really helped me, and this is what I desire to share, is I don't see my work as work or coaching packages or offers or I don't know what else you would say. But I see my work truly as medicine. And how would I show up in the world if I have amazing medicine? I have one of the greatest medicines that is there to offer, to help, to support. And from that point, I show up. And this helped me so much to align everything. Because if I deeply believe I have the greatest medicine, I wouldn't do it for free. I would not do it the whole time for free. Because for me, I'm deeply interested in my medicine becoming better and better and better, more effective, healing faster, healing easier, like not improving from the point something's wrong, but I just desire to become better and better and better. And for that, I desire to have the best people to support me in making my medicine better. I desire to learn more about my medicine. I desire to receive more. And with that, money is just super helpful and beneficial. It makes things super easy and fast. This is my belief around it, and maybe it helps you too. This was Jeanine for a very long time. I call her the Queen. She definitely commands with respect, more or less, and authority. She uses leadership skills to build and sustain wealth. Advantages: obviously, she's confident, authoritative, she's a visionary. However, the challenges this archetype faces, that she can appear intimidating and or struggle with delegating responsibilities. And maybe you can see this from yourself. It's really building a business, but having a hard time giving control and power to other people in general. It's this type, let me do everything on my own. Let me just do this on my own. And very often what's the underlying subconscious belief here is that somewhere in the past, you allowed someone into your life that was painful, that didn't go the way you desired. Maybe you even received disadvantage from this. Maybe someone even took something from you. And now you closed yourself so much. I'm just doing everything myself. And I just know what I'm talking about. In the beginning, I've manifested a couple employees that stole a lot from me. Content, programs, workbooks, money. Till I realized I had to shift my own energy. Why am I manifesting those people? Why am I allowing those people in? So this is the archetype of the Queen. So just one last archetype, which I think is a really cool one. I call her the Explorer. This woman loves financial freedom. She loves to travel, adventure, experience a lot of diverse things. She's super adventurous, open-minded, spontaneous. However, the disadvantage is of this archetype, or what she struggles, what she's trying to learn is she lacks financial stability or long-term planning. Hallelujah, this was also Jeanine. So I would say you are not only having, first of all, only one archetype, but many archetypes combined, and they show up at different points in life. So for me, really the Explorer, and this is still, I'm learning this. Long-term planning is, for me, I have a vision kind of like, oh, this is cool when it would be happening. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to retire when I have X million, X thousand, whatever the amount is, in assets, in real estate or whatever. I don't have this. For me, I've realized when I do long-term planning in the traditional world, I become super slow. And there's nothing wrong with it. In this whole work I shared with you, it is really finding out what you truly value. So for me, for instance, I value financial stability, always having more than enough money in my bank account, which I do, but I don't value at this point true long-term financial planning or setting up retirement things, all of this. I just don't value it at the moment. Maybe it will change. Maybe we have this conversation again in many years. However, when I wrote down those archetypes, what's very important to me is understanding for yourself, what is it that you value? There are so many different times in my life where I valued more travel, less work. There were times I valued focusing a lot on selling versus no selling. And nothing's ever wrong. And I think it's very important to understand that we are not linear. but everything happens in waves and phases. And to understand what is it that in my current wave, in my current phase, I truly value. And you act on that till you reach a point where I'm like, oh, I'm valuing something else. In the beginning, I said this in one of the university monthly Q&A calls. There were times, the first years in my business, I only valued money. That's why everything I offered was 35K, 50K, 150K, 250K. I didn't have a lot of clients, just a lot of money. But it was a perfect alignment because that's what I valued. Later, till now, still, I value impact. So I've lowered my prices a lot because I value now to have more people and more impact. And it's also working out for me. In both ways, I've made multi-millions. But why the shift happened is not because I had to do something, had to change something, or one was not working. It was me, Jeanine. I valued different things. Same in relationships. There were times I valued having not a relationship, and there were times I valued having a relationship. And this is what's important. This is authenticity. And if you're coming from this, what is it that you value in your life, in your business? You're becoming a freaking big money fast manifestor. I love you. You've got this. I talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, share it with a friend, and of course, leave a review if you like what you're listening to. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast Manifesting Big Money Fast. I've got 3 very important announcements for you. First, if you like what you're listening, make sure you leave some gratitude, leave a review, share the podcast. Second, if you love what you're listening to and you want more of that, there is a VIP version available. That means you will have access to 3 podcast episodes every single week. Simply check out the store, courses.richandhappiness.com, or the link in the show notes. And lastly, there are always monthly money activations happening around the new moon and full moon. If that is something you're interested, check out the store for the next money activation. I love you and I can't wait to see your beautiful face soon again.